Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video there is lots to negotiate about. So I am going to be giving you, Manchester United's best British players, at this present time, and also going to give you, the best British players we've had before but are no longer now at the football club. So that is the first topic I'm going to be delving into. I then also am going to give you Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best moments so far as Manchester United manager. And then after that, who do you think Manchester United's next manager will be if things do not work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer? So that's the topics, I am going to be delving into. So the first topic, like I said, the best British players, that Manchester United have had, and, the best British players, we have now got at this present time. So I think, the best British players that Manchester United have had who are no longer at the football club now. I think definitely Paul Scholes, was one of the best British players we had. Paul Scholes was a very, very good midfielder. He was also very, very good from long range, was Paul Scholes. Paul Scholes was a long-serving player for Manchester United. He actually spent the entirety of his professional career with the football club. I think he joined us, was it in like 1991? I think he was at the club for over 20 years, was Paul Scholes. Scored over 150 goals in like over 700 appearances for Manchester United. But yeah, he was very, very good, was Paul Scholes. I think one of his best moments, was that goal he scored against Barcelona back in 2008 in the Champions League semi-final, if you do remember that, which is like 12 years ago now. I think actually, Paul Scholes left the football club, was it back in 2013? But yeah, he was very, very good. He has managed, obviously, didn't he become the caretaker of Salford? He also, was a manager at Oldham at one point, but, he didn't really have a long tenure at Oldham, did he? Did Paul Scholes. So, yeah, he's one of the best British players that Man United have had. I think he's probably, one of the best players we've had anyway, in general. Also, too, got to say Rio Ferdinand, he's another one of the best British players that we've had. Rio Ferdinand was a long-serving player for Manchester United. I think Ferdinand endured around, was it 12 years at the football club? We got him in 2002 from Leeds United. And, Ferdinand was very, very good. Did very, very well alongside the Nemanja Vidic in our back line. Obviously, I think Ferdinand left us like in 2014. I think he actually had a spell with QPR. But before he came to Man United, like I mentioned, he was at Leeds. I think he also had a spell with Bournemouth. I think he actually began his footballing career with West Ham, did Rio Ferdinand. Also, to Gary Neville, he's one of the best, British players we've had, and probably, one of the best right backs we've ever had, Gary Neville, to be quite honest with you. I loved Gary Neville a lot. He was a very, very good right back for Manchester United, so I also loved him a lot. Wayne Rooney, he's also, one of the best British players that we've had. Wayne Rooney was a long-serving player at Manchester United. He endured 13 years at the football club, did Rooney. Don't forget we got Rooney in under the Alex Ferguson era. We got him from Everton back in 2004. And, Wayne Rooney endured 13 years at the football club. And he is the club's all-time leading goal scorer with 253 goals in all competitions. I think has he got around 180 odd goals in the Premier League, Wayne Rooney. Of course, after his 13 years with Man United, he went back to Everton, and I think he played against us a couple of times, when he went back to Everton. Like I said before, it's very, very rare that players, go back to their former clubs. And then I think after he left Everton, he went and had a spell in the MLS, was it with DC United, if I'm right? And now, obviously, he's player manager of Derby. He's Wayne Rooney in that. But yeah, he was, one of the best British players, that we've had. Definitely Wayne Rooney. I also think, Michael Carrick was also very, very good for Manchester United. Michael Carrick did endure 12 years at the football club. I think it was 12 years, Don't forget we got him from Tottenham, was it, back in 2006. And I think Michael Carrick made over 300 appearances, I think, for the club in all competitions. I think he won everything domestically as well at the football club. We did get Michael Carrick from Tottenham, like I said before. He was at Tottenham, he was at West Ham. Michael Carrick, he's one of the, coaching assistants now at Manchester United. So there you go. So yeah, I think, they are the best British players we've had. I think also too, David Beckham was also very, very good for us as well. He's another one. So yeah. And I think, the best British players that we have got at this present time. There's probably other British players, that we've had before, that I haven't currently mentioned, that are no longer here. But the best British players we've got in this present time now, and Wan-Bissaka, definitely. And Wan-Bissaka, definitely one of the best British players we've got now. I think he's been fantastic for Manchester United, since his arrival from Crystal Palace last summer. We did pay around, was it £45 million for Wan-Bissaka. Obviously, I think the add-ons included, which isn't up to like £50 million. But he's been a very, very good right-back for us. And I think Wan-Bissaka can be our next right-back for at least the next... I think he can be our right-back for at least the next 10 years or so. I really, really do. But I've been very, very impressed with him. We started to see the attacking side of his game as well before the football season got suspended. Bissaka's defensive contributions always been very, very good as well. So I've been very, very impressed. Dan James, very, very good. Daniel James has, surprised me really because, when we did sign him from Swansea last summer, I didn't expect him to play as many games to the extent as he has done. But surprisingly, he has played a lot of games, and I think, to be fair, Solsjaker has been overplaying Daniel James, but he's been exceptional for Man United. But there again, he was also very, very good at Swansea last season. But, he's taken a huge step in his career, coming all the way from the Championship to the Premier League, let's be honest about that. Daniel James can play on the left, he can play on the right, but, you see he's supposed to be more effective from that left-hand side is Daniel James. Harry Maguire, honestly got to say, one of the best British players we've got now at this present time. I think Harry Maguire has been exceptional for us since his arrival from Leicester last summer. I agree on the aspect that we did overpay for him, because we did pay £80 million for Harry Maguire. He's the second most expensive signing at the club, and he's the most expensive centre-half in the world. But I think you've got to say he has addressed our defensive deficiencies, let's be honest. I think Maguire's got 2 goals for the football club. Yeah, he has got 2 goals for the football club as Harry Maguire. Because I think he scored his first Premier League goal, was it against Chelsea? And he scored, I think, in the game against Tranmere as well. So yeah, he's got 2 goals for the football club. And like I said, we did make the right decision by giving Harry Maguire the captaincy on a permanent basis. We give him the captaincy reflecting on Ashley Young's departure. Luke Shaw, he's regarded as one of the best, fullbacks. He's regarded as one of the best fullbacks, definitely, is Luke Shaw. Luke Shaw is now into his 6th season at Manchester United, and don't get me wrong, Luke Shaw has endured some very, very difficult times as a Manchester United player. Prime example, he endured a very, very difficult time under the Jose Mourinho era. Obviously, people have got reservations about him as well because, he is very, very injury prone. But I think prior to that, very, very good left back Luke Shaw. And he was out with injury for like 2 months earlier on in the season. But I've got to say, since he's come back, before the season got suspended, he did really, really well. And I've probably got to say, Luke Shaw is the foreseeable future for Manchester United. I really, really would keep him. So he's one of the best British players, we've had at this present time. So too, Marcus Rashford, he's another one. He's another one of the best, British players. He's another one of the best British players we've got now. Marcus Rashford, like I said, he's one of our best players, and he was one of our best players earlier on in the season. Marcus Rashford, as up until this point, has spent the entirety of his career with the football club. He has been a United player since the age of 7. He has been in our senior squad since 2016. And since then, he has become an integral part of the team as, Marcus Rashford. Don't forget, scored twice on his Europa League debut against Midtjylland, scored twice on his Premier League debut against Arsenal. Also, too, scored in his first Manchester derby, scored in his League Cup and international debut as well. Rashford's an exceptional player, and again, he has endured some difficult spells as a Man United player, but, very, very good. And when the football season does eventually resume, and I think it is resuming in June, I think Marcus Rashford will be back. He will be available because he has been out of a back injury since January, so he's been out now for the good, is it 3 or 4 months or something like that. But I think, when Rashford does come back anyway, Solsjaker will play him on the left, even though he can play in that central role. But this season, it's actually Martial that's been playing in that central role. But, You know, Martial's done well in that central role for the vast majority of this season. And, you know, when Rashford plays out wide, he seems to be more effective. So this is why, you know, I think Solskjaer will put, you know, Rashford out wide when he does come back and that. But, yeah, you go. So that's the latest on that topic. You know, the best players at Man United, the best British players Man United have had before, and the best British players now that Man United have got at this present time. So now let's delve into the next topic. So the next topic is, you know, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best moments so far as Manchester United manager. So the best moments I think so far, definitely, you know, we've enjoyed some very, very good games under Solskjaer, but also too, let's take into account we've also enjoyed a lot of bad games under the Solskjaer era. But I think one of his most iconic moments as manager, you know, was definitely, you know, that 3-1 win against PSG last season. Was it in the last 16 of the Champions League, if I'm right? Because don't forget, you know, we did come back from 2-0 down from the first leg to beat PSG 3-1 in the second leg. So that is Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's most iconic moment as manager. So that is one of his best moments as Manchester United manager, definitely. Of course, you know, that 3-1 win against PSG, it did give Solskjaer, it did remind Solskjaer of, you know, 1999, of course, when he scored that late winner against Bayern Munich. Obviously, you know, in 1999 we had won the treble, and that's obviously, you know, one of the club's greatest achievements anyway. But that 3-1 win against PSG was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's last game in charge as the temporary boss, because obviously, you know, reflect on that win against PSG, you know, we did give Ole Gunnar Solskjaer the job on a permanent basis. I've also got to say as well, another one of the greatest moments under Solskjaer, you know, was the 4-0 win against Chelsea on the opening day of the Premier League season, because we didn't expect to beat Chelsea by 4-0. Even though we didn't play particularly well, you know, we still did beat Chelsea by 4-0. I think Daniel James scored in that game. I think that was his actual Premier League debut for the football club. I think also to win that game as well, Rashford had scored a couple. You know, but yeah, that was also one of the best games we've enjoyed under the Solskjaer era. I've also got to say as well, the 2-0 win against Manchester City was one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best moments as Manchester United manager. That was a very, very good game, you know, that 2-0 win against Manchester City. That was actually, you know, the last league game we played, you know, was the 2-0 win against Man City. And I think we actually, you know, played very, very well in that game. But actually, you know, Solskjaer's beaten Manchester City, is it 3 times this season? And he's become the first manager in history to beat Pep Guardiola 3 times in one season. So yeah, it's good that he has made history in that aspect. Also got to say as well, you know, we enjoyed a very, very good FA Cup run last season. We did eventually get knocked out, but we still enjoyed a very, very good cup run last season. Obviously, you know, we beat quite a few decent teams until we got knocked out by Wolves in the quarter-final. You know, you saw us beating, we beat Reading in the third round. I think in that game, you know, Chong had actually made his debut. Yeah, he did make his debut in that game. But obviously, you know, then, you know, we played Arsenal in the fourth round, beating them by 3-1. I think then we played Chelsea in the fifth round, beating them by 2-0. And obviously, you know, we lost to Wolves in the quarter-final. So, I think that was also one of Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's best moments. You know, the 3-1 win against Arsenal, the 2-0 win against Chelsea. Also, too, you know, the 5-1 win against Cardiff. That was Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's first ever match as Manchester United manager. Got to say, that was one of his greatest moments as well, because, you know, it was the first time we'd scored 5 goals in that game, you know, since the Alex Ferguson era and that. So that was also, you know, very, very good. Also, too, you know, we beaten Club Brugge 5-0 in the last round of the Europa League. You know, we beaten last 5-0. You know, so we have progressed to the last 8 of the Europa League, you know, taking into account winning to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup as well. So we can get some silverware on the board under Solskjaer this season, and that's if the season does resume. You know, so they are, you know, the greatest moments, you know, that we've had so far under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era. But there again, you know, we've enjoyed some bad moments. You know, like I said, I think the worst defeat we've enjoyed under the Solskjaer era, you know, is the 4-0 defeat to Everton last April. You know, do you remember that match rightly? Solskjaer actually, you know, came out after that game and and publicly apologised, you know, after that 4-0 defeat to Everton, because it was an embarrassment. I think another one of the worst games we've endured under the Solsjaker era, and that was the 2-0 defeat to Cardiff at the end of last season. Obviously, we've had some bad results this season. The 2-0 home defeat to Burnley. The 2-0 home defeat to Burnley. Also, there's a few others as well. We lost to West Ham earlier on in the season by 2-0, was it, if I can remember rightly? We lost to Newcastle 1-0 earlier on in the season. We've obviously drawn a lot of games as well. We lost to Palace. I think that was on the third game of the season by 2-1. So yeah, we've also had some bad results under the Ole Gunnar Solskjaer era, definitely in that. So yeah, that is the latest news on that. So, like I said to you now, we'll delve into the final topic, and then I may give you a bit of an update on some more transfer news. If things don't work out under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, who should replace him at Manchester United? Now, like I've said to you, definitely Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager next season, and I've also, said that he does deserve at least a couple of more transfer windows, to see who else he can, recommend into the football club. Obviously, so far, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer has recommended 5 players into Manchester United, and he has spent around £220 million. Like I said, last summer brought Daniel James, Harry Maguire, and Wan-Bissaka, and in January he brought Bruno Fernandes and Odion Ighalo in. Also got to say as well, one of the greatest moments of Solskjaer's tenure so far was recommending Bruno Fernandes in. That's another one, of course, I did forget to mention, because you can quite frankly say Bruno Fernandes has definitely saved Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's job at Manchester United. He really, really hasn't that. And, Solskjaer's already revealed his plans for the summer. He's already said, he wants to make around 4 signings. He's already identified the areas in the squad where he does want to strengthen up. Don't forget, he still wants to continue the policy of recruiting young British talents to Manchester United like he did do last summer and that. But I don't think Solskjaer is the foreseeable future for Manchester United personally, but he does deserve at least another season at the football club. There's some things I've credited him for, so far in his managerial tenure. Like with the players he's brought in, he's also promoted the youth very, very well. Solskjaer's also got rid of a lot of the deadwood since he's come in as well. So these are the things I do credit him for. Don't forget he was a great player for Manchester United for 11 years. He flourished under Alex Ferguson's guidance and stuff like that. But my element of concerns about him is that his approach to the small games haven't been so good this season. For me, he still doesn't know his best formation as yet. I still think, he is inexperienced as a manager, because he is inexperienced as a manager, but there again, the longer he remains in the Man United job, he's going to be gaining more managerial experience and stuff like that, because, like I said, so if he wasn't to work out under Solskjaer, who would replace him at Manchester United? Who would it be? Now, obviously, earlier on in the season, we was relentlessly linked with Mauricio Pochettino. Of course, Mauricio Pochettino was in negotiations with the football club and that. And obviously, when we sacked Jose Mourinho back in December 2018, our primary candidate was Pochettino and that. And it's actually a shame that we didn't recommend him in, but I give you the couple of main explanations already why we decided to get Solskjaer in instead of Pochettino. It's because Solskjaer knows the club inside out, and plus Solskjaer knows the club inside out, and plus, Solskjaer was a cheaper solution because we didn't really have to pay that much, to recommend him in from Mould. So these are the reasons. But I'd love Pochettino at Manchester United, to be quite honest with you. Even though he hasn't won anything in terms of silverware, he hasn't won anything at all in terms of silverware, but he did enjoy a good 5.5 years with Tottenham. Now, Pochettino to Man United now anyway, speaking now, is out of the window, because reportedly Newcastle are close to appointing Pochettino in as their new manager to replace Steve Bruce, because I think Newcastle's takeover is close to completion. Don't forget, the Saudi Arabians are taking over. I think they are paying around £300 million to buy the club, because quite a few weeks ago, Mike Ashley, who's their current owner, has agreed to sell, the club to the Saudi Arabians and that. And I think the Saudi Arabians are worth, is it 200 odd billion or is it 300 odd billion they're worth? But obviously, they're the Saudi Arabians, if they take over Newcastle, which it's looking like they're going to now, they want to make Galactico signings, they want to get a manager in and that can, take Newcastle forward, and probably, they believe Pochettino can do that. In Pochettino's 5.5 years at Tottenham, he won 159 games in 293 games in all competitions. And I think in the Premier League, he won 113 games out of the 202 that he managed in the Premier League. Don't forget, he progressed Tottenham to the Champions League final last season for the first time ever. He also had a very, very good short tenure at Southampton. I think he guided Southampton to their highest ever finish. And before he was at Southampton, he was at Espanyol. So far, Pochettino's managed 3 clubs in his managerial career. He said from Sky Sports the other week that Newcastle were willing to offer Pochettino around 19 million. I think it said around 19 million a year, something like that. And I think it said Newcastle would have to pay Tottenham around 12.5 million, to get Mauricio Pochettino in. So I think actually, Newcastle will get rid of Steve Bruce. If they want to get Pochettino, then possibly Rafa Benitez could reunite with Newcastle, because don't forget, was it last summer he resigned as Newcastle manager. So Pochettino out to Man United is not happening. Massimiliano Allegri, is still a possibility. I think it said the other week, though, Newcastle were also looking at the possibility of getting him. Massimiliano Allegri, of course, has spent the vast majority of his career in Italy so far. And it said earlier on this season that Massimiliano Allegri was learning English in preparation for his potential move, because, there was talks of Allegri coming to Man United earlier on in the season when Solsjaker, was close to getting the sack and that. He did resign as Juventus manager last summer after he endured 5 years with them. I think he won around, 4 or 5 Serie A's and around 4 Coppa Italians. So, yeah, but who would it be? Who would be Man United's next manager if things didn't work out under Solskjaer? So it won't be Pochettino. Probably won't Pochettino. Probably won't be Allegri. Definitely, won't be Ryan Giggs, because Ryan Giggs is, just inexperienced as a manager. Obviously, was a great player for Man United, Ryan Giggs. In total, I think he enjoyed 24 years at the football club. Don't forget Ryan Giggs came in for the short period after, we sacked David Moyes. But, he's he only managed around, 4 games, did Ryan Giggs and that. But obviously, we didn't keep him on, we got rid of Moyes. Obviously got Giggs in shot for a short period, and obviously, we got Louis van Gaal in after that. So, there you go. Zinedine Zidane, don't forget, went in for him, was it a year or 2 ago now? I think we inquired about Zinedine Zidane as well after we sacked Jose Mourinho. Of course, Zinedine Zidane is managing Real Madrid. That's the only club he's managed in his managerial career, Zinedine Zidane. Actually, he did step down, didn't he, as Real Madrid manager, and then I think he was managerless for 8 or 9 months, then, he did walk back into the Real Madrid job. But yeah, I don't see, Zinedine Zidane coming to the Premier League. Don't forget a while back as well, went in for Pep Guardiola from Manchester City. Well, when went in for him at the time, he wasn't at Man City, I don't think. I think he was at Barcelona and Bayern Munich. When we tried to get Pep Guardiola, like I said, Pep Guardiola is regarded as one of the best managers in the world, because, Pep Guardiola's got a fantastic pedigree behind him. There was talks early on this season that Pep Guardiola could leave City, because of Manchester City's transfer ban from the Champions League. But I don't think he'll leave. I think he will be Man City next season with Guardiola. He's revealed his ambition as Guardiola at City, and he wants to win the Champions League with City, because that's the only trophy, Manchester City have not won in their history, is the Champions League. So let's just put that into the equation. But Pep Guardiola did win the Champions League when he was Barcelona manager. And City, of course, don't forget, they've won two back-to-back Premier League titles. They won it last season. They won it the season before when they finished on 100 points. They won the domestic treble last season, don't forget. But, yeah. So who would it be, if we was to sack Solskjaer next season, and if things, weren't to work out? Solskjaer's got 2 years remaining on his Manchester United contract. 2 years now, yeah. And like I said, he's our 4th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. And obviously, we have sacked 3 managers since the Ferguson era. Of course, we sacked David Moyes, we sacked Louis van Gaal, and we sacked Jose Mourinho. So we haven't really got the structure to keep sacking managers, but we have been playing catch-up for the last 6 or 7 years. We've been playing catch-up. Like I said, we haven't dominated football since the Alex Ferguson era. And like I said, Ferguson endured 27 years at Manchester United. Obviously, he had 20 odd years of success, despite the fact, Ferguson didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club. So he actually was on the verge of getting the sack. But like I said, since he, made his retirement in 2013, we have been playing catch up for several years, and that, we've had different managers with different philosophies. We spent close to the £1 billion range on players. We've recruited over 30 odd players in since the Alex Ferguson era and that. And it's been a transition period for several years, and it is a transition period now with Ole Gunnar Solsjaker. But like I said, Ed Woodward said on several occasions this season, he's backing Solskjaer, and he's assured Solskjaer's job safe as well on quite a few occasions. And also too, the Glazers, I think, are backing Solskjaer. Ed Woodward came out a couple of weeks ago and he insists, we won't do business as usual in the summer transfer market. He also, said recently, though, that he's made a transfer promise to Solskjaer, and we will remain highly competitive in the summer transfer market and that. But like I've said to you, I don't think we'll make 4 signings. Before Woodward came out with this statement quite a few weeks ago, obviously, Solskjaer said, we will exploit the transfer market when it does reopen. Another good thing, we are planning to get rid of around 5 or 6 players in the summer, and we're hoping to generate over like £100 million for their departures. And I think the Daily Star recently said, Solskjaer could axe 7 players off in the summer transfer market. And I've already gone through with you, I think the players that Man United are going to get rid of and that. Because he's still, quite frankly, deadwood at the football club. You saw my video that I did earlier on today. It was my second video, by the way. Can Man United, win the title under Solskjaer? I think we can win trophies under Solskjaer, but I'm not sure, if we can win the Premier League under Solskjaer. Don't forget, we haven't won the Premier League since 2013, so the last time we won it was in Alex Ferguson's last season at the football club and that. But I think definitely if we can get the right calibre players in the summer, we can mount a title challenge up next season. We've enjoyed our worst start to a Premier League season for 30 years. But last season, we enjoyed a very, very difficult season, except the 3 months when he was the interim manager when he did well. But last season, I think we finished 6th. That's not the lowest we've finished in the Premier League era. I think the lowest we finished in the Premier League era was under David Moyes when we currently finished 7th and that. But yeah, and like I said to you before, we've got around 9 players' contracts that are due to expire next year. So that's something else we need to sort out. Like I said, I expect a lot of players to stay at Manchester United for next season. I've already gone through with you, the players that I think are going to be staying at the football club next season as well. But the question is, who will Man United sign in the summer? Jadon Sancho now to Manchester United is looking off, because now reportedly we are planning to sign Jadon Sancho in the summer of 2021 instead of signing him this summer. Don't forget, Macotti, who's an Italian journalist, he came out yesterday and said that Jadon Sancho prefers a transfer back home to London because he began his career in London with Watford, and don't forget Chelsea have been in for him as well. And Jadon Sancho's spoken about the deep sacrifices of living in Germany away from his family and his friends and stuff like that. So that's actually fueled speculation up. Sky Sports have come out today and said that, Borussia Dortmund expects Sancho to stay in the summer, but a source close to him has been told by Sky Sports that Sancho's still likely to leave Borussia Dortmund. And reportedly anyway, we're not willing to meet Borussia Dortmund's valuation because Dortmund have come out and said that they want at least 100 million, and we are not willing to smash our transfer record for the player. So looking likely Jadon Sancho at Man United's off now. We are still in for Jack Grealish. He's one of our priority targets. I obviously give you the news recently, didn't I, on Odion Ighalo. I give you the news, didn't I, on Odion Ighalo. We are looking to extend Odion Ighalo's loan at the moment rather than sign him permanently. So it's not fully assured, that we are going to sign Odin Ighalo on a permanent transfer. It will cost us around £15 million to get Odin Ighalo on a permanent transfer. So he is a cheap solution, but like I said, Ighalo has enjoyed a fantastic start to his Manchester United career. He really, really has. And I have been, very, very impressed with him. And I've got to say, he has been a very, very good cover up to Rashford. We paid around 3 or 4 million to get Ighalo on loan. Obviously now we're paying I think a third of his wages, because his wages at Shanghai Shenhua were a good £300,000 a week. We're paying 180 grand a week, something like that anyway. And his current loan spell does expire at the end of this month. So this is why, we're trying to extend his loan and that. But I think we're waiting to see if the football season resumes, before we negotiate on, try to maybe get him on a permanent basis and that. So there you go. The news on Dean Henderson as well. I don't think we've yet made a decision on his future. If Dean Henderson comes back to Manchester United next season, he will be our number 2, because David De Gea is going to be remaining our number 1. So there you go. And obviously early on today, I give you the news on Paul Pogba. Obviously, Paul Pogba could be playing for Manchester United next month, because he has been stepping up his fitness regime, and he has revealed his plans ahead of his return. He's aiming to be the best player in the world. Paul Pogba, has been out for a good 7 or 8 months with an ankle injury. He did have the surgery back on his ankle in January, but he's sustained quite a few injuries anyway as a Manchester United player. But one player I expect to stay, and that's Pogba. He might not stay, but for my own perception, I think he'll stay at the football club for at least another season. I don't think he'll be for the foreseeable future, but I think he will be at the football club next season, will Pogba. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel. If you do, consider subscribe as always, and take care. God bless, and I'll see you all again very, very soon.